Launched in the early 90s, the Monster has become the entry point for most people into the world of Ducati motorcycles. Or should I say, it was. Today, that responsibility rests on the slim shoulders of the Scrambler, but there's no denying that the Monster is still Ducati's most popular model. And recently, it has seen some major updates. Now, in its third generation, it's available in two flavors, the 1200 and the even newer 821, which replaces the 795 and 796. And it is this Ducati Monster 821 that we are going to be spending some time with today. Now, the Monster is a very handsome motorcycle. Its shape is still unmistakable thanks to its muscular sculpted fuel tank, which holds 17.5 liters of fuel, by the way, and that oval flat headlight up front. Gone are the underseat exhausts from the Monster 796, instead replaced by these curvy side pipes, which are a lovely 2-in-1-in-2 system, which look really pretty. Now, there are a couple of things on this bike I like very much in terms of design. The first is the instrument cluster. It's an all-digital, very compact unit which looks like it belongs on a race bike, but yet it can show you all the information that you need to see on the move. The second thing which I like, of course, is the switch gear. Now, it's very compact and it's not much wider than the handlebar grips, which adds to the minimalness of this motorcycle's design. And even the buttons have been designed very smartly. For example, the engine kill switch covers the ignition switch, the pass switch can be pushed down to engage permanent high beam, and the indicator kill switch can be used to change riding modes. Now, the Monster's frame has been inspired from Ducati sport bikes. It's still a turret frame, but it's much smaller this time around and it mounts straight to the front cylinder head. This keeps the wet weight of the bike down to a manageable 205 kilos, which Ducati claims is the lightest in this segment. Even the rear subframe, for example, mounts to the rear cylinder head, and the suspension and the swing arm mounts to the engine. So the engine is a very integral part of the Monster's chassis. And speaking about engine, what a motor that is. Now, these new Monsters are powered by the Testastretta 11-degree motor, which has been derived from the one from the Hypermotard. Now, this motor is liquid cooled, which makes this generation of Monsters the first ones which are not air and oil cooled. In the 821's case, it is a 821cc L-twin motor that pumps out 112 PS of power and 89.4 Newton meters of torque. And the 11 degrees of valve overlap that the name suggests, well, that is there to give it a good low and mid-range torque. And coupled with this new exhaust, it sounds bloody good as well. Check this out. Now, just because this is a street naked motorcycle, that doesn't mean it's a basic bike in any way. It's got sport bike levels of electronics in order to get the maximum possible performance. This Monster comes with a complete ride-by-wire system. So there are no throttle cables connecting the twist grip to the throttle bodies. Instead, the bike electronically decides how much to open the throttle based on input and conditions. So you get an extremely smooth throttle response in every situation. It also gets an 8-way traction control system and adjustable ABS. There are 3 riding modes available: urban, touring and sport. In urban mode, engine power is cut to a mere 75 PS in order to make riding in city conditions or low traction surfaces really easy. Touring mode gives you the full 112 PS of power, but throttle response is dialed down for a smoother ride. Sport mode is designed for the full fat Monster experience. Full power and quick throttle response. Almost makes you believe that your right wrist is connected directly to the motor. Even the exhaust note gets growlier, and we believe this is the most fun mode if you find yourself on an empty winding mountain road. But the motor also makes a lot of low-end torque, which coupled with the right sort of gearing makes even commuting a breeze. The Monster 821 comes shod with Pirelli Rosso Diavolo 2 tires, 110/70 at the front and 180/60 at the rear, which provide ample grip in most conditions. The front gets non-adjustable 43mm upside-down forks, while at the back you can find a progressive linkage with a fully adjustable monoshock for both preload and rebound damping. Now this setup gives the Monster good ride quality over everything but the sharpest bumps. And the handling is quite likable as well. It's not super sharp, but more progressive and offers a fair amount of confidence in the corners. This is a bike that's quite versatile in its riding experience. It makes for a decent daily commute machine. It's perfectly acceptable for occasional touring and really comes into its own when blasting through twisties. Now what holds the Monster back from being an out-and-out sport riding machine are the ergonomics. Now don't get me wrong, they're quite good for the most part, but one thing in particular strikes me as a bit odd. The design of the foot peg frame makes it very difficult for you to turn your foot around when you're cornering. Now this leads to a slightly awkward leg position when you lean the bike into a turn. But apart from that, the ergonomics are a huge improvement over those from the 796. Now, the handlebars are much closer to you, giving you a lovely posture which is a good mix of upright and sporty. And even if you are short, well, the Monster is a delight as well. The stock seat height is just 810mm, which can be dropped even further to 785mm. And if you're even shorter than that, well, Ducati provides a couple of optional seats, letting you take the seat height down to 745mm. The seats themselves are quite comfortable too, and if you want to carry a pillion, well, this cowl pops right off. Just take the seat out, undo 2 bolts and off it comes. Now the Ducati Monster 821 plays in a very small segment, at least here in India. In fact, the only bike which it goes up against in terms of its engine capacity and performance is the Kawasaki Z800. But then there's a huge price difference. At Rs 9.80 lakh ex-showroom Delhi, the Monster is over ₹1.5 lakh more expensive as compared to the Kawasaki. Is it worth it? Well, what works in favor of the Ducati is the way it looks and its crazy electronic suite. And then again, it's Italian, so it's just oozing with a lot more charm than almost anything else out on the roads. And admit it, deep down, we've all wanted to be Ducatisti, haven't we? I know I have.